Oh, I didn't know you guys were there. What we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is how to combat these demons. How to combat demons. You know, a lot of you guys, you walk through this world, this evil world, and you're dealing with different entities, different people, and you're encountering energies from different sources. A lot of these people have demons in them. A lot of them are demon possessed. A lot of them are narcissists. And what we're trying to focus on here is how do you combat the enemy? Number one, you ignore demons. Demons specialize in trying to provoke you. That's what they do. They specialize in harassing you, being a thorn in your flesh. Demons might show up to the live chat while I'm streaming. Their job is to troll. Now, you have to think about this, guys. If I just went live and all of a sudden entities show up into the live chat and they start to troll, that's a demon. Because I don't know that person. They just came out of nowhere to do their job because they're demon possessed. They wait around all day waiting for an opportunity to be a demon. How do you combat that? You ignore them. You ignore them. A lot of you got demons on your job, co-workers from the lake of hell. And these entities try their best to harass you, stalk you. They monitor your every move on the job. You can't go to the bathroom without them knowing. They're always telling the supervisor what you're doing. How many of you, at the sound of my voice, got those kind of coworkers? You go to work, they're always running to the supervisor, always informing the supervisor on what you're doing. You don't go after those people. You don't, yo, bro, why you always talking about me to the supervisor? You don't do all of that. What you do is you ignore them. You don't have nothing to do with a demon. You're not supposed to respond to a demon. The more you respond to a demon, the more the demon continue to harass you. Because what you're telling the demon is that whatever it is they're doing is affecting your peace. What is the goal of the demon? To take your joy, to take your peace, to ruin your day. That's what they do. So as long as you ignore them, they cannot sit there and keep doing the same thing over and over. Eventually, they're going to get tired. It's just like if somebody's trolling in the live chat, as long as I'm ignoring them and not even acknowledging them, they get tired. Because there's like, the guy's not even looking at the chat. He's not reading the chat. He's just talking. Here I am calling him all sorts of N-words and all sorts of crazy stuff. He ain't even do nothing about it. They get bored and they just leave. They go somewhere else to be demon possessed, to harass somebody else. The way you combat these demons is you got to just shine your light. For example, you might live in a community and you have neighbors from hell. How many of you, with a show of ones, live in a community where your neighbors are full of demons, where you didn't bother nobody, you just live your life, you just stay out of the way, and you got Karens that live across the street, couple of male Karens that live down the block. You got that one neighbor with the dog that keep urinating and pooping on your damn yard. You keep telling these neighbors, stop pooping on my yard. But they keep their damn dog coming to your yard. And you're tired of these demons. And no matter what you do, some of you put up a fence and the dog jumped over the fence to poop on your yard. And you're dealing with these demons from hell. You don't go and respond to the neighbor. This is how you handle it, guys. Let me tell you the secrets, right? This is how you handle those demons. When you have neighbors from hell, you should have cameras on your house that record all the activity that goes on in your yard. And when you see the neighbors, the narcissists, the demons, the way you combat them is you document a paper trail of all of the issues, and you get all the video footage. You don't go to them and verbally speak to them. Never speak to neighbors from hell. I'm strongly against interacting with demons. If you know you got a Karen neighbor, if you know you have a neighbor that is weird, a narcissist, you don't go to them and try to speak logic. You don't try to communicate with a demon. Their job is to provoke you into anger. Their job is to get you to flip out. You gather receipts, a paper trail. Then what you do is you call the non-emergency hotline for the law enforcement. In other words, whatever state you live in, there's a special number that you call, not just 911, calling police for an emergency. You don't want to call them for an emergency. You want to call the non-emergency hotline. What they're going to do is they're going to switch you over to somebody. You let them know, look, I got a neighbor from hell. This is how you got to tell the police. I got a neighbor from hell. They're possessed with demons. Tell the cops that. I don't want to go outside because if I go outside, I'm going to go to jail. They've been harassing me for a long time. They're demon possessed. So I'm calling this number so you guys can come on down, make a report about this. Hopefully go over there, talk to them, because if I go, I'm going to go to prison. When law enforcement come out, they're not coming to your house under the guise of an emergency with flashing lights and all that other stuff. A police will just pull into your driveway, nice and quiet, nice and neat. He'll get out the car. You'll see the officer. Hello, officer, how you doing? All the neighbors will be watching. You're making it hot now. Now you're making it hot for the demons, the narcissists. Because remember, guys, they want you to get out of character because they got cameras on their house. They got cameras on their yard. They want you to come out of your house with your gun, especially if you live in a Second Amendment state. Don't come out your house with your gun to fight against demons. No, that's how you're going to end up in prison, because if you come out with your gun, you can go to prison for that. Don't think because you got Second Amendment rights that it means if you got a neighbor from hell that you come out with a gun, because now it looks like you're intimidating your neighbor. You'll get arrested for that. You got to understand the laws in your county, in your land, wherever you live. So now when the officer comes up, you show the officer the video. You let him know, I got a family. This neighbor has been doing this for X amount of weeks. Here's all the dates, time, stamps. The officer is going to take a report. He's going to ask you for a copy of that document. Boom, 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 boom. He's going to say, how would you like for me to handle this matter? You let him know, I would like for you to go over there, talk to that demon, let them know, I don't want them on my yard. I don't want them around me. The officer is going to go over there, speak to them, and give them a warning. And he's going to let them know. If they do it again, they're going to get arrested. If you don't understand how this thing works, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you these are facts. If you're harassing neighbors, that's a crime. So if your demon-possessed neighbors are doing this, that's how you combat a neighbor from hell. You get law enforcement involved so that they can prepare a paper trail so that the neighbor will get a warning that if they do it again, they're going to get arrested. But you have to have documentation that this has been happening for a minute. You just can't just call the police for no reason. You can't call the police for no reason, because if you do and you don't go through the proper channels, you may end up getting yourself in trouble. In other words, you don't call the police for an emergency when it's not an emergency. You get it? Like, you don't call 911 and the cops come racing to your house, and when they get there, you're like, well, my neighbors. Bro, why you waste taxpayer dollars for that? Why you call an emergency hotline for that? That's why I'm recommending that you call non-emergency hotline. A lot of people don't even know this exists, but you call the non-emergency hotline and you get the documentation. That way, the harassment from that demon is going to stop. If they do it again, they're going to get arrested because you got the paper trail. Now, if you're on your job, now that's for if you have a demon-possessed neighbor that is a weirdo, because we all got them. In whatever community you live in, I'm sure you got demon-possessed neighbors that are jealous. They hate you for whatever reason, and they try to do things to provoke you. Now, the reason why they're trying to provoke you guys, let me give you the 411 on exactly what they're trying to do. Okay. How many of you guys live in an HOA community? Put a 1 in the chat. If you live in an HOA community, put a 1 in the chat. This is only for adults that want the advice. If you live in an HOA community, I'm trying to give you the advice on exactly how this thing works. When you have neighbors from hell, demon-possessed neighbors, and you live in an HOA community, you must tread lightly. These type of communities are governed by an HOA, which have rules, guidelines, and so on and so forth. In an HOA community, you have a lot of people that are homeowners. You have a lot of people that lease houses. You have people that, may live with people and so on and so forth, and they pay rent. Maybe they rent a room, whatever the case is. Now, when you're in an HOA community and you have conflict with another neighbor, it can be a very sketchy situation. It is not as simple as, let me go outside and argue with a demon. Because if other neighbors are watching from the sidelines and you appear to be the aggressor, even though you didn't do anything wrong, everybody in these particular type of communities, if you live in these communities, you know what I'm talking about. They will begin to report you to the HOA and complain that you are disturbing the peace, that you are becoming a nuisance. Even though you didn't do nothing wrong, you ain't do nothing wrong. That demon-possessed neighbor was provoking you. I'm trying to save you guys from the trouble that's ahead. That's why you have to get documentation and document when a demon is in operation. Because if you get in the flesh, if you respond out of emotions, right, then because those other demons have cameras on their house, they're going to capture you on tape walking on their property. That can now be used against you in the court. That will begin to be used against you as a paper trail to the HOA and law enforcement. And if you're leasing a property, even if you're a homeowner, you could get yourself in trouble. Even if you are a homeowner and you're in an HOA community, you could get in trouble. Now, it's even worse if you lease a house, because here's the damage. If you lease a house, meaning pay rent, and you have a conflict with another neighbor, that not only get reported to law enforcement, but it also goes back to property management. Property management now look at the file and they realize that you were involved in a scuffle. There was a hand-to-hand fight. Guns were drawn. Boom, 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 boom. Before you know it, evictions. And that's how certain neighbors will get you evicted, because they didn't really want you in the community to begin with. So what they do is these entities, these demons, will try to provoke you to get you to break rules, to get you to cross that line. And before you know it, there's a report out on you. So not only do law enforcement got the records of you, you got arrested, or property management was told. And if you're a homeowner, the HOA can come after you with fines and various other things. Sometimes they put a lien on your house. All sorts of crazy stuff goes on, guys. And you could really put yourself in a mess. So you want to make sure you understand the law, and you don't want to combat a demon by going to them face to face. You want to get everything documented that you experience harassment. That way, rather than you having a file for doing some sort of disorderly act or whatever the case is, the neighbor is the one getting in trouble. You got to make sure that you protect your property and your peace at all times from these demons, because these demons operate through people. So that is for those of you that live in communities. Even if you live in a housing complex and you have a neighbor from hell, because we all got them. You know, when I was in New York, I was in the hood, and in the hood, you live in what is known as apartments, where people are literally stacked on top of each other like sardines. Your neighbor downstairs blasting music, you hearing all this noise all night, people smoking weed in the hall is coming into your apartment. There's a lot of third-party harassment and crazy stuff that goes on. And what I always say is, as long as it's not in my apartment, I don't care what's going on in the hallway. Let them smoke till they die, drink till they die. I don't really care. But at the end of the day, I don't own the hallway. You get what I mean? So even though the smoke might come in, I've learned a long time ago that if you want to stop the smoke from coming in, take a wet towel, put it at the bottom of the door. It stops the air of the smoke from coming in because it filters it through the wet towel. Do you understand, guys? So if you have an issue with a neighbor in an apartment complex, the best thing to do, again, don't confront the neighbor face to face. Never confront the neighbor. Stop talking to demons. I don't like talking to people, guys. I really don't. I don't even like living around people, to be honest with you. I don't like it. I really don't. I think that as human beings, we're really not supposed to be living around each other. I think that we should all be separated at least an acre or two away. In other words, if I live here, you should live about an acre or two away from me. That's how I believe everybody should be living. I don't think we should be next door to each other in an apartment. I think that that's all toxic. At the end of the day, we're not supposed to be around each other, because if we're around each other, there's going to be drama. There's going to be drama. With a show of ones, right? How many of you good people out there live on your own land where your house is separated from everybody? It's peaceful. You don't got to worry about no BS. It's just, open field. Your house is right there. You got to drive all the way out to get out of the area. Have you noticed you have nothing but peace? Have you noticed that there's no drama? Have you noticed that? See, you're living what I call the good life, because you don't got to worry about no BS, because there's no neighbors. You have neighbors, but they're far from you. They're far from you, and y'all all respect one another. But when you live like that, you have a greater chance of having nothing but peaceful days, peaceful nights, and you don't worry about nothing. But if you live in an apartment complex, same routine. Non-emergency hotline, let them know what it is. It got to be a valid situation. Don't call law enforcement for stupid stuff. We're trying to build a paper trail. Once you get the paper trail, you let them know what it is. Then you go to property management. You let property management know, look, I got a demon in the building, crazy tenant. They leaving trash in front of my door. Their kids are wilding out. It's just really messy. I'm trying to be at peace, and let property management deal with the situation, not you. You know what I mean? If you go and you try to talk to your neighbor about it, it's going to be nothing but an argument. I don't like arguing with people, and I don't like interacting with demons, because people will provoke you to the point where you end up getting arrested and lose your freedom. And I don't want you guys to lose your freedom and end up in jail and have to do some bid because you punched somebody in the face or whatever the case is. So now, we talked about how to combat demons in a community, and we're going to come back to that, because those of you that are believers in the Most High, those of you that follow Jesus Christ, a lot of you have to know based on the scriptures on how to combat demons spiritually so that you can know that too. What I'm giving you is the physical understanding of how to combat demons that are in the physical realm. In the physical realm, we don't battle against, the spirit. We're battling against flesh, entities that are in human form. So the way you deal with them is you got to go through the proper channels in the natural physical world. When we're dealing with the spiritual aspects of demons, there's a spiritual way in which you do it that way. So we're taking you through different dimensions on how to combat these demons. So now, we talked about how to deal with them in a community. We talked about how to deal with them in an apartment complex, how to deal with them at work. Demons on the job. How to combat demons on the job. The workplace, the 9 to 5, ladies and gentlemen, is the place where you're going to encounter a lot of demons. A lot of demons are at the workplace. As soon as you clock in, a devil is waiting for you. Every one of us been there. You clock in on the job. As soon as you walk in, somebody doing something goofy. Somebody's trying to provoke you. Somebody's in the locker room acting crazy. Somebody's in the hall doing something stupid. Somebody took your uniform. Somebody took your walkie-talkie. Somebody did something to provoke you. And now you got to deal with this demon. How many of you been there at work arguing with your coworkers, damn near coming to blows? I know I've been there. Guys. I've been through many arguments, damn near fights on the job. Nearly almost lost my job because of those situations. When I was on a 9 to 5, I dealt with nothing but BS. I'm talking about you put your lunch in the refrigerator. You come back to eat your lunch is gone. Who took my lunch? Yo, which one of y'all took my lunch, dog? Oh, nobody ain't going to answer now, right? Yo, who took my lunch, bro? So none of y'all took my lunch, right? Y'all gonna all act, you know what? Cool, all right, cool. How many of y'all been there? You brought your nice lunch, bro. Some good home cooking. You brought it to work, put it in the refrigerator. They stole your lunch and your drink too. Sometimes they'll drink half of your drink and leave it in the refrigerator. Imagine people got jobs and stealing other people's lunch. That happened to me like 3 times, bro. 3 times. And I flipped out. The first day it was nasty. I ain't gonna hold you. The first time they stole my lunch, I flipped out so bad, bruh. Man, I was angry because I couldn't believe it. I'm like, everybody get a paycheck. Why would you steal my lunch? Why would you steal my lunch? And you know what's so crazy? They took the lunch, and then like the next following day when I came in to bring my new lunch, they put the plate in the refrigerator. The empty plate. They put it in the refrigerator. Sick, right? How do you deal with those issues? How do you deal with coworkers that provoke you into getting angry? Because on a 9 to 5, guys, you good people have to understand that there are coworkers that are trying to get you fired every day. They don't want you there. They don't want to see you shine. They don't want to see you live. So what they're going to do is they're going to try to let you get memos, let you get written up, sabotage the equipment, sabotage something that you're responsible for. So it's very important that you make sure that you monitor the things that you're responsible for and take photos, document things so that in case you leave or you're off from work, you notify supervisors and everything else to cover your tracks by letting them know, hey, all the equipment is taken care of, files are good, the office is straightened out, I closed everything up, everything is good on my end, send a photo, always have documentation. That way, your coworkers that are setting you up it won't work. I had coworkers that used to sabotage equipment. They would falsify information in order to line me up in hopes that I would get a memo, in hopes that I would get fired. I had petitions made for me from coworkers that tried to get me fired. People would act like victims on the job in order to hopes to get me fired. These are demons. These are entities on the job that come from the gates of hell, and their job is trying to sabotage you so that you can lose your livelihood. Don't let that happen to you. You understand? Anytime you have a coworker that is a demon, there's a special way in how you do it, guys. Now, when it comes to communities, you go to law enforcement. When it comes to living in an apartment, you go to law enforcement and management. Now, when you on the job, guys, there's certain code you must understand. I'm not saying run to supervisors to report your coworkers. That's not what we're doing here. On the 9 to 5, we have code. On the 9 to 5, you got to understand code. Don't be one of them tattletalers that run to the supervisors. I'm not suggesting that you do that. Some of y'all might do that. I don't recommend that here. The reason why is we work in the same environment. The last thing we should be trying to do is get somebody fired. That's not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to get somebody fired. Even though they're trying to do that to you, they're trying to provoke you, they're trying to make you lose your job, there's a way in which you combat those particular entities, those particular demons. The way in which you combat those kind of coworkers on the job is you have another coworker that you're cool with, right? That particular coworker got to be a witness with you. You got to go to the person that is doing the bull crap. You got to call that person out on the dance floor. In the 9 to 5, I don't believe in going to supervisors. You got to call that demon out. You go up to that damn coworker with one of your partners as a witness, and you call them to the dance floor. Yo, my man. Yo, I got to have a word with you, bro. Let me holler at you. And you call them out. We got to have a talk. You go in the back room over there, and you have that man-to-man talk. You be like, yo, bro. Yesterday, I left the file cabinet like this, and I noticed that the paperwork is all scrambled up. You were the last one in the office. Let me make something very clear, bro. I ain't running to no supervisor. We work together here. Don't be trying to do no nonsense to try to sabotage me, dog. If you're going to work right after I work, make sure you do your job, bro. You know what I'm saying? I call you over here like a man, looking you in the eye. I ain't going to run to supervisors trying to throw you under the bus. We're not going to play those games, right? So I don't know what you got going, but over here, we do our job, bro. Make sure you handling everything right. And call him out and look him in the eye. See how he respond. Because it's either we're going to end up fighting in this room or you're going to do what you're supposed to do, bro. Because I'm not trying to get you fired. And you got to let them know, look, I know you got your job. I'm not trying to get you in no trouble. I don't want to get in no trouble. I'm trying to eat just like you trying to eat and pay your bills. But you out here doing goofy stuff, bro. That's coming back on me. Supervisors coming at me. You know what I mean? And make sure you got your witness there. Because on the job, people love to go to HR talking about third-party harassment. You will be in harassment, workplace violence. No, I got a witness with me. And he got the tape rolling. Do you see me? Do you follow me? That's how you combat them demons on the job. You don't go to the supervisor. Don't ever go to the supervisor, bro. If you go to the supervisor, you messed up. You don't do that. You got to have code on the job. That's how you earn respect. That's how you earn respect on the job. Even if you beefing with other coworkers, you keep all of that stuff within the job. You don't go to management. You don't go to supervisors. You don't go to the higher ups. You don't send no emails to nobody. No, that's not what you do. The only time you got to send emails is if the person that you confronted. Now, hear me out, guys. When you confront a coworker in the manner that I just said, and that coworker continue to do the BS, even after you confronted them, you had a witness with you, you got the recordings that you confronted them, you didn't, you was no Ray, I'm gonna punch you in the face, none of that nonsense. and the coworker's still doing goofy stuff, time to send those emails. Paper trail. You send those emails out and you let supervision know, look, I'm responsible for such and such and such. The machine is damaged. Last person that was there working on that machine was AJ. I have everything documented. I talked to AJ about it. You got to talk to AJ about that situation. That's not on me. Cover yourself at that point because somebody's going to get in trouble. I'm not trying to throw AJ under the bus. AJ didn't do what he was supposed to do. So he got to now answer for that. Do you follow me? But you don't run the supervision. You don't run the tattletale. Don't be that guy. Don't be that woman. Even though you got people on the job that's going to throw you under the bus anyway. I dealt with people that ran to HR, ran to supervisors. Man, they were just doing some dirt. And at that point, I didn't have nothing to do with them. Certain coworkers, you just got to cut them off. Certain coworkers, you got to not even talk to. But you still work at that place. You signed up to be a team player. So even though I'm beefing with you at work, even though you're a demon, even though you're a devil, I still got to work with you. So sometimes you got to call out that coworker and be like, yo, my man, let me holler at you, bro. You come over there, you be like, look, I know we beefing. I know we don't like each other. I know we don't agree. But at the end of the day, fam, we work in the same place. We work in the same place. So let's agree on this. When it's time to do this job, we got to do this job. After this job, I don't got to talk to you, bro. But while we here, we got to do this work. And y'all got to have some sort of compromise in order to deal and coexist in this environment. If not, y'all going to be beefing all day. Management, supervision going to get in. Somebody going to get written up, memos, fired. We don't want none of that drama. We trying to get to this bag. We trying to get this bread. But we got to be at peace. You know what I mean? So you got to talk about those things on the workplace. That's how you combat those demons that are on the job. Sometimes you might be the demon. Sometimes it's not the coworker that's the demon. Sometimes you might be the demon that's harassing other coworkers, giving them a bad day. You know what I mean? So when you're on the job, you got to communicate with the coworkers that's doing the dirt. Don't be afraid or intimidated to confront people at the job. That's the only time. And when I say confront, you got to be civil. You got to have a witness. Always have a witness. Don't ever do it by yourself. Have a witness who's recording the interaction. That way, if that person try to throw you under the bus by running the management, you got the tape, bro. You see what I'm saying? So far we covered combating the demons in a community, combating demons in an apartment complex, combating demons on the job. Now what we're going to focus on is combating demons in your family. Demons in your family, fam. Demons in your family is some of the worst demons, bro, to combat. Because these entities, they know you. They know your secrets. Some of these people go to social media. Some of these people talk about you in the community, put a bad word out there. It's really, really disgusting. To combat family members that are demon possessed, the best advice I can give you is cut them off. Cut them off and don't speak to them anymore. Cut them off and don't speak to them anymore. That is how you combat family members that are demon possessed. You don't waste your time trying to negotiate because they know what they're doing. A family member is supposed to know better. They should not be attacking you, harassing you, gossiping, stabbing you in the back. No. If you got family members that are doing you dirty, cut them off, have nothing to do with them. Cut them off. You don't need them in your life. Cut them off. You don't need them. You cut them off. No apology. No apology. Cut them off. Avoid them like the plague. Don't have nothing to do with them. Because they're demon possessed. Because they're your family. They're supposed to know better. And you know as good as I do that most of you out there, most of you good people, you and your family don't even get along. So stop the cap. A lot of you at the sound of my voice got family that you don't even talk to no more because of drama, because they were demon possessed, because they stabbed you in the back. They did you dirty. That's what they did, guys. And for whatever reason, you had to cut them off. There's nothing wrong with that. You didn't do anything wrong. You had to protect your peace. Always remember, protecting your peace is the most important thing you got to do. Protect your peace at all costs. You know what I mean? And make sure you guys are double tapping the screen, guys. Double tap the screen to give it a thumbs up. If you like the content, fam, let's not be a hater. If you like this content and you're feeling the information, I'm breaking things down, you're learning something. Think about this, guys. I showed you how to combat demons in your community, in an apartment complex, in the workplace, and now in your family. If you believe I'm giving you good advice, double tap the screen to give it a thumbs up. Don't be a hater now. Don't be a hater when people showing love and people giving you gems that's helping you in your walk. Because a lot of these content creators are fake and they be giving y'all fake information that don't work. I'm giving you real life information that I tried, tested, and proven. All this information work. Like I said, when you're on the workplace, in the job, you don't want to be known as a snitch. That's why I said you never run the management, you never run the supervision, because it's sort of like the penitentiary. If you snitching on other coworkers, regardless how it is, even if they wrong, you a snitch. You a snitch. And if you're in the workplace and people find out that you went to supervision about some drama you and a brother had, bro, nobody gonna respect you, dog. You should have came to me like a man on the job. I would have respect you more. Don't, rather than going to supervision, bro, you messing up my bag, bro. You messing up my bread. Okay, I did you dirty, but damn, dog, you could have came to me like a man so we could resolve this issue. You went to supervision. Now I'm getting written up. Now I'm getting memos. Bro, I got to see you after work, dog. I got to see you after work. Now you and this coworker beefing. I seen people bring guns to work, bro. I seen supervisors get stabbed, bro. Coworkers getting shot by other coworkers on the job. I seen dudes get walked out of the job in handcuffs. Off to prison they go. Murder. I seen some crazy stuff. Dudes at the workplace selling drugs, bro. No cap. Whole locker filled with marijuana, bro. How dumb could you be to come to work and stash your work inside your locker? Crazy. Police came, cracked the locker open. Man, dude got locked up, bro. And shout out to everybody supporting the show. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know how it is with these lives, man. If I'm working with these phone, you know what I'm saying? I see the super chats coming in. You know what I mean? I appreciate everybody coming in, you know, supporting the show. Shout out to everybody. I'm trying to focus on the content, guys. You know, I'm on my flow right now. You know how it is, fam. Make sure y'all thumb up the video, guys. We got 284 people in the building, gang. We need 284 likes. We need 284 likes. Let's get those likes up, fam. If you guys are learning something, click the like button. Why not? So, let's get back to the content. How to combat demon-possessed family members. You cut them off. You don't negotiate. Cut them off. Don't invite them to your house. Ladies and gentlemen, never let a demon in your house. A family member who's a demon, you don't let them in your house because they're going to get red eye. They're going to get jealous. They're going to start to compete with you. How many of you had family members that you invited to your house? Next minute, they started buying the same furniture like you, same TV, same table, same carpet. Damn, they even went out and bought the same car. And it's like, bro, what the heck? Bro, they've been coveting you for the longest. Trying to copy your whole swag, your whole style, bro. Never let your neighbors in your house. Never let neighbors in your house. Never let family members in your house that are toxic. You might have some cool family members. You might let them pass through. It is what it is. I ain't saying not to let all family members in your house, but certain family members, you can't bring them over, guys. You can't invite everybody to the cookout. Some people got to stay home, bro. Some people don't need to see how you living, because they're going to get jealous of you, dog. Some of you good people are living good. Some of you struggling. Some of you going through. Some of you got financial issues. I mean, we all do at the end of the day. But those of you that got yourselves together, you're living decent. You know what I mean? You're not rich, but you're living pretty well for yourself. A lot of you experience these things where you invited family members to the cookout. They came to your house and they got jealous of you. As soon as they saw how you living, they got mad, bro. You thought you were doing a good thing by inviting your cousins, inviting the nephews and everybody over to have a good old time. As soon as you brought them in, they got jealous, bro. They saw the cars on your parking lot, they got mad. They saw the swimming pool, they got upset. How you got a swimming pool and I don't? How you got this big old house and I'm living in the hood? Because I worked. Because I did what was needed while your lazy ASS was sitting home playing PlayStation. I was out there grinding and I made something happen for myself. That's how I got it. Don't get mad at me. And some of you folks are so damn jealous. You get jealous of your family members that are doing well, as if though they did something wrong to you. No, you're lazy. You didn't want to get off your tail to work. Don't get mad at the next man for trying harder and doing what needs to be done. I'm tired of people being jealous of people that are hard workers. A person who worked hard to experience a certain level of success, to provide a certain lifestyle for his family, is supposed to be respected, not harassed, not hated when that person worked. You know what I mean? I got people that hate me because I got a nice yard, bro. I made a video earlier. I'm going to teach you guys about the difference between living in a quote unquote nice community versus living in the hood. A lot of you be thinking that living in some suburban community with nice, pretty houses and everything is all quiet and nice, that the people are nice. Nope. Wait till you see that video. I got a lot to share in that video, guys. I did that video earlier in the day. But yeah, a lot of people don't understand that a lot of people are jealous of you. And I got people that don't like me because my yard is very nice. I have the nicest yard in this community. And it's that way because I work. I work on the yard. Now, some neighbors, they shout me out. They be like, yo, man, yo, your yard is crazy, bro. Like, yo, man, yo, that's really... And some, they walk by, you look at their faces, they like this. That's how they look. They mad. Just yesterday, I don't even know if it was yesterday or today. Well, today, I walked outside the house, right? True story. I walk outside the yard to the front of the house, walk down the driveway at the front where the lawn is on the left side. It looked like if somebody must have took like some sort of water gun or something and filled it with like water paint, like a watery paint substance or something like that. And it's like they sprayed it on the lawn. And there was like a spot on the lawn that was like, you could tell they did it on purpose, like because of jealousy, guys. Literally. I should have took pictures of it. I didn't take pictures of it, guys. I should have took pictures of it. I sorted all of that stuff out already. Like I cleared it up and whatnot. But the point is, what would make a person do that? What would make a person spray? Because you could see where it landed. It looked like if they were in a vehicle driving and just kind of real quick. And the reason why you know they did it is I have signs all over the property that says, please be respectful on the lawn. I don't like when people walk on my lawn. On the sign you see the white substance, which means somebody did that. A demon. It could have been a white person. It could have been a black person. It could have been a racist. It could have been whoever it was. Whoever it was, they were demon possessed, and my lawn intimidate them because their lawn is fucked up. I'm just being honest. A lot of people's yards out here don't look good at all. I'm just being honest. And if you're watching my content and you live in this community where I'm at right now, stop being a hater and learn to walk up to me and ask me to help me to get your yard right. Don't sit on the background hating me because my yard is the best in the community and you sit in the shadows pissed off and mad. I'm on that yard every day working like a man should. So if you like what you see, how about introducing yourself, be respectful, and say, hey, brother, I would like to hire you. Maybe you could get my yard right. You know, that's how you do things. But don't hate me. You know what I mean? So whoever did that, you got some judgment coming, bro. Like whoever did that, if you watching and you live in this community and you did that, dog, I'm telling you, the judgment that's coming to you from the Most High is going to be sweet. See, grass grow. I ain't even worried about that. Just like hair grow. If you get some paint on your locks, you can just clip that off, it grow back. But only a hater would hate on lawn. It's a special kind of demon that would do that. Real sick stuff. And that's how it be in some of you lives. Some of y'all, you park your car at the job. You came outside, somebody took a key and scraped the side of your car at work. Put a 1 in the chat if that's you. Put a 1 in the chat if that's you. You went to work with your car. It was parked in the work parking lot. How in the world did somebody put a little key mark on my car at work? It was one of your co-workers. One of them hating ASS co-workers did that because they saw you got that nice car, even if you don't even have a nice car. They'll hate you just because you got a car. You can have a hoopty and they would do that to your car because they got to go catch a cab or to take the train or whatever the hell they got to do. So they scrape your car and you're like, wow. Wow, who did that? One of your coworkers. Guaranteed, guys. One of your coworkers did it. A demon. Now, if you ever find out who did that, you got to report that to law enforcement. You make a police report about that. And with that situation, you have to let the job know. If it's a worker who did that, sad to say, no negotiations for that one. That person got to pay for that damage. So law enforcement, management, that person got to pay for that damage. Simple as that. You ain't going to damage my car and we're going to talk about that. No. Because I want to put hands on you. But I know I'm going to get arrested and I'm going to lose my job. So I got to think smart. Because again, guys, we don't want you to lose your freedom. We don't want you good people to end up in prison because you are using your emotions to combat demons. If that's the case, all of us are going to go to prison because we're going to end up fighting people, and you know how that go. I told you guys this story 1,000 times. I'm going to tell you again. When I was on a 9-to-5, right? When I first started working at this particular agency, right? My first day on the job, right? First day on the job, guys, I was a caretaker, and the job of a caretaker is to take care of buildings. We had to clean buildings. Shout out to all the caretakers in Brooklyn, New York, all the caretakers in New York that clean the buildings. Y'all know who y'all are. Shout out to all of y'all. When I first got to the agency, first day on the job, I'm happy I got the job. I'm like, yeah, man. I'm gonna get this paper, take care of my fam, pay these bills. I'm excited and happy. So I'm there mopping the floor, in the hallway, in the lobby area, mopping the floor, doing my thing. You know, you got a ninja. He come downstairs, so he walked past me. When he walked down the steps, I had a wet floor sign right there in the front. So he walked past, and at the front where the lobby is, where you go down to the exit door, there's another set of steps, like 3 steps you got to walk down. So I put a wet floor sign right there, right at the steps. You can't tell me you ain't see it. He go by the steps. Next minute, I'm hearing all this cussing and cursing. The F is this, blah, blah, blah. Bro, yo, I almost slipped, dog. Yo, for real? Yo. Dude is wilding out. So in my mind, I already know how I am. I already know what I'm capable of doing. It's my first day at work, bro. It's my first day on the job. I'm not trying to get fired. I just got the job. I just got this damn job. It's my first day on the job and somebody fronting on me in the hood. We in the hood, Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, at the projects. And some clown is fronting on me in the hallway. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm going to stay cool. I'm going to stay real cool because in order to get the job, they had to put you in anger management. It was like some anger management classes everybody had to take in order for them to get the job. Because in order to be a caretaker in the projects in the hood, you're going to need some anger management. You're going to need it. So we went through the training. So everything in the training paid off because dude was pressing all kinds of buttons. Dude was literally pressing me, provoking me, being very disrespectful with his mouth, man, just talking all kind, just being grimy, crazy. So I'm there like, bro, like literally like a ticking time bomb, but I'm trying to keep my job. I don't want to get fired. I don't want to get fired. I'm like, damn, it's like I stepped out of the situation looking at myself, watching dude flip. And I'm looking at myself taking this abuse. And I'm like, dog, why are you taking this abuse? So it's like the devil was on one side telling me, punch him in the face. What are you standing there for? Punch him in the face, dog. What are you waiting on? God is on the other side like, bro, just chill, dog. Apply all the stuff you were trained to do. De-escalate. Use conflict resolution skills. Apply all those principles that you learned in the training class. So dude flipping out. And I'm from the hood too. So none of that nonsense he doing is even moving me. I'm not even moved by dog. Dog is wasting his time. He's more nervous. He's trying to make me lose my job. I already know the play. I already know what it is. And you know what's so crazy? When we got the job, they already told us sometimes tenants will try to provoke you so you could lose your job. So I was like, oh, I see what he's doing. So while dude is flipping, I'm like, yo, my man. And this is what we learned in training. They taught us in order to de-escalate, you got to talk in a very calm manner. Don't get all aggressive. Don't get all hyper. You don't got to do all that ray stuff, right? Be respectful. Remember, you're at work. This is your livelihood. You don't want to lose your job. So I was like, yo, my man, let me talk to you for a minute. I understand you upset. At the same time, you see that wet floor sign right there? That wet floor sign is there to warn you that the floor is wet, which means you're not supposed to be running down a flight of steps if you know the floor is wet. You pass two signs that clearly is bright neon showing you that the floor is wet. If you slip, that was on you, dog. The sign is there to protect you. I'm at work. You there being mad disrespectful. You flipping out. I don't know how your day was, but at the end of the day, dog, I'm trying to do my job. I'm trying to keep my job. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, if you felt that you were slipping down the stairs or whatever it is, my bad, dog. But you go on and you have a blessed day. And this is how I'm talking to this dude. Now, the whole time I want to punch him in the mouth. You know what I mean? I don't want to talk to this sucker. But at the end of the day, I'm applying these principles. This is what they told me to do. This was the training. You know what I mean? So I'm following the training. It is what it is. So I'm telling them all of this stuff. So dude, it's like he was calming down a little bit. Then he started flipping out a little bit more. And at this point, I'm like, listen, F the training. I'm about to punch this dude in the face because now he really disrespectful now. And at this point, I don't care. But then I started thinking of my fam and the fact that, yo, how you get fired on the first day? So I said, you know what? Let me just stay cool. Let me stay calm because these devils will test you. And so crazy, I did a video about that earlier about how these demon-possessed people love to test God's people. So I apply more de-escalation skills, more conflict resolution skills. And at the end of the day, dude, he walked out the building. Next minute, he came back in the building. I'm thinking he coming back to flip, to fight. So I was ready. I was like, you know what? F it. We're going to have to throw hands. So he come back. He's like, yo, my man, my bad, dog. So I'm looking at him like, he's like, my bad, dog. Let me holler at you for a second, man. My bad for how I was flipping out, bro. It's my old lady upstairs, man. I just broke up with my old lady. You know what I'm saying? She really flipping out on me, bruh. And I took out all that frustration on you. And you know what I'm saying? You got to be a real strong dude, bro, because I don't know how the hell you would right there just you ain't flip. It's like you got to be a real strong dude, bro, because I was really being disrespectful, man. And I just want to say my bad, my apologies. You know what I'm saying? That's not who I am. You know what I'm saying? I was just coming to see my old lady. We just broke up. And in my mind, I'm like, dog, you did all of that Ray stuff because you broke up with your girl. I was about to break your damn face. And this is what it come down to, bro. But at least he was able to clear the air. At least he was man enough to recognize where he was wrong. So I could respect that. But at the end of the day, that test was designed to make me lose my job. And I applied the principles that made me combat the demon that was in him. You see what I mean? And I was able to resolve that issue. And then like before he was walking out, you know what I'm saying? We kind of just like a little dap. I wanted to punch him in his face still. Like I was pissed. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I was actually surprised in myself that it's like the training that we learned from the anger management classes, all of that stuff paid off. Like everything we learned, I applied all those principles and it really worked. And dude recognized that he was wrong. And, you know what I mean? He left. Everything was cool. I kept seeing him every other day. He would see me outside working. Yo, what up, my man? Yo, you good? Everything good? All right, boss. Yeah, everything's cool. And that's how it was. And that was it. But my point in sharing all of that is how you combat demons. You don't combat them by flipping out and just getting in the flesh. That's not how you do it. You got to know how to de-escalate. You got to know how to have conflict resolution skills. You got to know how to talk because a soft answer will curve wrath. If you arguing with somebody and you meeting them at that same energy, y'all never gonna resolve the issue. Somebody got to calm down and be civilized in order to rectify that situation. So when it comes to combating these demons, you got to know these principles. Now, the spiritual side of combating with demons or combating demons from a spiritual side, as if though if you're a believer in Christ, a Christian, Hebrew Israelite, whatever your religion is, the way you got to do that is you got to know the scriptures. In other words, according to the scriptures, it teaches you that you have to have on the helmet of salvation, breastplate of righteousness, and various other different things. If you don't know the word of the Most High, then you're not going to be able to withstand the fiery darts of the wicked one. You know, you got to cast out these demons. When you see demons in operation, you got to cast them out. You got to ignore them, but you got to cast them down. You got to cast down the spirit that's operating in people. A lot of times demons are operating in people, and you got to rebuke those devils. You got to rebuke them because those entities, if you don't shut them down, they're going to keep coming at you because what they're trying to do is take your peace, take your energy, energy swap, destiny swap. They're trying to take your life force from you. And if you let the devil just live in your world, you're going to have problems. You got to evict the devil. If he's possessing someone that's harassing you, you got to rebuke that person. You got to cast the devil out of that person. That's why you got to be living a righteous life. If you're living a righteous life, the devil won't be able to withstand the blessing that is on you. When you're a blessed man, a blessed woman, demons that come around you, they're going to be intimidated by your light. And the anointing that is on your life is going to push these demons away. You might have demon-possessed neighbors, and they can't stand you. And the more you live in that area, it's going to make those demons want to move. Sometimes people will end up moving, guys. Have you ever moved into a community and you had neighbors that were weirdos or whatever the case is, and then they end up either moving down the street, or they just moved out the community, or they got another apartment, or they got relocated elsewhere? It's because your energy, your life was intimidating them. They couldn't exist while you're there because they recognize that God is with you. When demon-possessed people recognize that God is with you, they can't stay in your presence. You know, they can't stay in your presence because God is with you. You see what I mean? So it's very important from a spiritual aspect of this situation. In order to combat demons, you have to know the scriptures. You have to know how to apply the scriptures. And I'm talking about the Bible. You have to know how to apply the word of God. You understand? Because the devil, your adversary, is as a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour. And he's going to use people. He's going to use your neighbors. He's going to use your family members. He's going to use kids. Sometimes you can live in a community and the children in the community will be possessed by demons. Put a 1 in the chat if you live in a community where your neighbor's kids become demon possessed, doing goofy stuff to provoke you. How many of you live in those communities? Put a 1 in the chat if that's you. You live in a community where the neighborhood kids, right, from your neighbors are possessed with demons and they do things to provoke you. And you're looking at these little kids and you're like, that devil, bro. Like, he using the kids, bro. Like, you can't see this? He's literally using the kids. Look at this. I'm sure you all been there, where your neighbor's kids is being used by the devil to provoke you. The way you respond, you don't respond. You know what I mean? You don't respond. And I'm talking about if they're doing goofy stuff around. Now, if they're on your property, you got to tell those jokers to get off the property and never to come back on the property. I've done that already. I've told people, kids, don't step on this property. Don't even come on this property. Don't come near the property. Stay away. You got your own yard. You got your own place where you live. Go over there. Don't come over here. And I tell them straight. You know what I mean? Because I can't go to your yard and tell my kids go over there and play and do goofy stuff on your yard. I can't do that. Right? So don't come over here and do that. Be respectful. A lot of people, kids, don't have respect. So sometimes you got to teach them that. But there's a flip side to that, because a lot of times in communities, people, they want you to talk to their kids so that they can now have a reason to confront you. This is why you got to know how to move. You got to move with wisdom when it comes to how you communicate. Normally, under all circumstances, don't even say nothing to neighbors that are demon possessed. Don't even give them a time of day. Don't even look at them. Don't eye contact. Don't even give them that. Don't give them no energy. Act as if though they don't exist. It burns them. The best thing you can do to demon possessed neighbors is not even give them the time of day. Don't even give them the time of day, guys. It's not worth it. It's not worth giving demon-possessed neighbors the time of day. And I'm not saying all of your neighbors are demon-possessed. Some of your neighbors might be cool. You know what I mean? Some of your neighbors might be cool. In this community here, there's only 2 people I talk to. It doesn't mean that we're friends. It doesn't mean we're friends. It just means that I communicate with them. We chat here and there. Boom, boom, boom. I'm not friends with nobody in this community. The word friend is a very strong word. It's not something you just call people. You might know of people, you might have associates, and so forth. But to call somebody your friend, That's a very strong word, and I don't apply that word on nobody. I don't have any friends. None. That's a very strong word. Don't be loose with that word, just calling people your friends. A lot of the people you think are your friends are actually your enemies. I'm just telling you straight up. The most of the people that's going to turn against you and stab you in the back are the people you call friends. The people that are close to you are going to be the ones that's going to betray you. So be very careful with that, ladies and gentlemen. Be very careful with calling people friends. I understand you might have some cool coworkers. I ain't saying that they're not cool. I had cool coworkers. I still got cool coworkers at the old location. Because when I was a caretaker, that was in my beginning days, back in the days. I grew in that company and rose up to the ranks by getting promoted. And I made it to like, a certain position where I was getting paid some good money, fam. Like with OT, you can make 6 figures, but you're going to have to work your ASS off at that job. And you can make literally $110, $120 in OT. So I still got coworkers at that location that, are cool people. Some I didn't really like, but we were still coworkers. I tried to make the best of it. You're going to have those coworkers you're not going to like. It is what it is. Some from my old locations, I got coworkers over there. They grew in the ranks. Some of them became supervisors. A lot of the coworkers that I worked with, a lot of them turned into supervisors. If I was still at the agency, I would have became a supervisor too, because that was my goal. My goal was to become a supervisor and eventually become either an administrator or a deputy director where I'm literally overseeing the supervisors. In other words, I'm the supervisor of the supervisors. That's the position I wanted, because I was a man that always went by the books in the company. Like, I went thoroughly by the books, because once I got into the agency, I was pretty much trained by the OGs who pretty much was by the books. And they taught me the ropes. They taught me everything. My superintendent, what I'm saying, RIP to him. He was a good man. He was a good superintendent. He wasn't like these a-hole supervisors that just full of ish. He was actually the type of supervisor that got out of his office, his air conditioning office, put boots on, and came out into the field to show us how to get the work done. And I respect that, because he didn't have to do that. He could have stayed in his nice, clean office and just relaxed while we out there, doing what we got to do. But he came out in the field, in the trenches with us, got his hands dirty, boots dirty, and showed us how to do the job. And he was the type of superintendent that always encouraged us. He would show us pictures of his big house. He'd be like, yo, fam, you guys, hey, come over here, fam. Check this out. And sometimes he'll either show us on his phone or his laptop and be like, yo, you see this house right here? This could be you, dog. We looking at this house. I'm like, damn, bro. What the heck, bro? That's your crib? He's like, yeah, that's my crib, bro. Nice. Beautiful. Nice cars. Nice whips. House is crazy. Pool. Man. All sorts of nice stuff, bro. Nice. You know what I mean? And he would always try to encourage us to show us that hard work will pay off. But you got to do the job according to the books and don't do no shortcuts. So he was the type of superintendent that gave us the quality values and to help us develop a good work ethic. And then other OG workers that I worked with, they pretty much were the same. So I was cut from a cloth of workers that did their job to the best of our ability. So I wanted to be a supervisor over the supervisors, which is an administrator or a deputy director. Deputy director is higher than the administrator. But my superintendent, he ended up passing away on the job. He got a heart attack. Real good guy. Very good guy. One of the best supervisors ever. It's just really, it's a real tragic situation, because he was administrator for about, I would say, almost, he didn't make a year of being an administrator. But I remember he came down to the workplace and we was talking about the situation. Like, we was just talking, and he was like, yo, I'm happy to see you stepped up in the ranks, man. You stepped up, you got promoted. I see you guys are doing pretty well for yourself. He's like, hey, keep going, man. Next step, supervisor, man. Take that supervisor test. I was like, hey, I'm gonna do it, fam. He was like, no, take that test, man. When the tests come out, make sure you study, take that test so you could become a supervisor. I was like, all right, I'm gonna do that. I'm definitely do that. And he was saying he was gonna come to the location so they could check out my location to see how the job was. And what he wanted me to do is pretty much talk about, what was needed at the job. And the reason why I'm going through all of this story, guys, is because a lot of you work on a 9 to 5. A lot of you people work with your coworkers. A lot of you might have supervisors that might be cool. Some of y'all have supervisors that are not so cool. I'm trying to make you understand that I know exactly what you go through. I know what kind of world that is, because when I was on the 9 to 5, I had to deal with a lot of nonsense, a lot of stress, a lot of demon-possessed people. It was just a real crazy, hectic place. And when you're around the right kind of people, it helps you develop it with skills that you could take outside of the workplace. Whereas if you start a business, if you start a company, because of your work ethic, because of the skills you've obtained at all these particular jobs, it makes you a better man, a better woman. It makes you a better person, so that when you get around people, you know how to function. You know what I mean? So don't neglect those relationships and those encounters, whether they are good, bad, or whatever the situation is. You got to take into account all the issues of life and learn from it. That way you're full of wisdom, and now you're able to teach other people based on your experiences. You know what I mean? Through all the good and the bad and the ugly, I've learned how to manage my anger. I learned how to, either forgive certain situations, forget certain situations, compromise, learn to work with people that are really difficult to work with. You learn all of these particular skills. There's certain people in the workplace you may feel you can't work with. But if you really think about it, when you signed up and you were interviewed, one of the things you told the interviewer is that you're a team player. Okay, so if you're a team player, you should know how to work with people that may not be all that good to work around. And like I said, I had to confront coworkers face to face, and literally had to have a talk with them and let them know, look, boss man, we work together. I know we don't agree. I don't even like you. It is what it is. We've been beefing for about a year, but we got to get this job done. And we don't got time for none of the drama. I'm trying to keep my job. You trying to keep your job. I ain't running to supervision. I ain't no snitch on the job. That's why I'm coming to you. So when we working, let's just get this work done, dog. Like for real, let's just get this work done. Knock it out. You go your way, I go my way. And that's how I handle business in the workplace with co-workers that I didn't like. And the crazy thing about it is, even though we didn't agree, because we had that understanding that business come first and we got to work together, eventually what happened is we started to become cool, if that makes sense. It's like we didn't like each other. We hated each other, right? But because we had an understanding as men that we got to work together to get this bread, we had to get this job done, we respected one another. And because we were working with one another, it's like the beef, the issue, whatever it is that we had, it's like it faded away. And all of a sudden now we became cool. So in the workplace as men, you got to know how to work with one another. You know what I mean? Don't run to the supervisor. Don't ever do that, dog. You'll never be respected by men in the workplace. If you got any problem with a dude, you go to that man, you have a meeting, you call a meeting between you and the fellas. Always have a witness with you. You know what I mean? And you invite him to have that meeting, man to man. Be like, yo, I got some issue with you, dog. All right, let's hash this out. What's going on? Yo, I have my bag over there, and it looked like something missing from that bag, bro. You ain't take nothing from that bag, right? Because you were the only one in the room. Dog, I ain't take nothing from that bag, but you were the only one in the room, bro. How you gonna say you weren't the one? Well, I'm gonna tell you straight up, bro. When I walked in that room, Jeffrey walked out the room. So, hey, it is what it is, dog. I didn't go in your bag. So, if anything, you probably gonna have to holler at Jeffrey, because he walked out the room. As soon as I walked in, I saw when you walked out the room. As soon as I walked in, Jeffrey was also in that room. I don't know if you peeped that, but he was there. Now, some might say he threw Jeffrey under the bus. It's not that he threw Jeffrey under the bus. He just keeping it a buck, because we came in there to talk to him. So we're going to go holler at Jeffrey. Come to find out, Jeffrey was the one that was in the bag. You see what I mean? But you got to hash those things out at the workplace. Don't go to the supervisor with that nonsense. Because sometimes supervisors will punish both of you or separate you or put you in another department. And now you're not in the good location no more. I had that type of stuff done, fam, where people would go snitch and the next minute supervisors is moving me. And I'm like, what the heck you moving me for in my mind? Oh, I'm hearing that you and such are not working together and blah, blah. I'm like, yo, so hold up. Dude went and snitched? Dude snitched on me, bro. All right, cool. And once you snitch on somebody on the job, we can never respect you. We can never respect you. We're not even going to have nothing to do with you, bro. You're like cast out. And we'll let the word spread to all the brothers. So-and-so snitched on Ringo. So-and-so threw him under the bus, made him get a memo. You know what I mean? I had got memos. Me and my partners, we got memos because we was in the front of the building hollering at chicks in the projects. Now, we wasn't out there stealing company time. What happened was some dudes was pulling out guns in the hallway on, I think, the 20th floor in the building. Shout out to Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, 303 Vernon. Salute to everybody over there. But somebody in that building, I think that was a 24-story building. Somebody in that building was pulling guns on the 20th floor, I believe it is. And there was a big fight. So we was waiting downstairs. So while we was waiting downstairs in the lobby, the cameras are all there. We waiting for the smoke to clear. I was telling my partners, yo, don't go up there, bro. They out there. I don't know. They're going to start shooting. You know what I mean? And in the projects, people shoot each other every day. But the thing about the projects when they shoot in one another that a lot of people don't understand is that it's not that when people shooting in the hood, you got to worry about getting shot, even though that's a possibility. But normally in the hood, the ops are shooting at each other, which means if you hear gunshots in the hood, it's not targeting to you. It's going after the ops who is the target. So if somebody have beef with somebody, they normally pointing that gun at them. Now, if you in the crossfire, then you might end up getting hit. But normally in the hood, when people shooting and there's a lot of violence, it's the ops shooting at each other. You know what I mean? So we waiting outside and some other coworkers is telling management that we outside hollering at shorties. So the supervisor end up looking at the cameras and they saw us there bagging shorties and we end up getting memos. But I end up calling the, what the heck is that person, man? What is that? The union. I end up calling the union rep to get those memos thrown out. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, man. But it is what it is, dog. Let me see. You leave and they gotta talk dirt. Exactly. Keep everything at the lowest level. Boom, boom, boom. Kind of reading the chat a little bit. And make sure y'all double tap the screen, guys, to give it a thumbs up. Let me see. Never making money after people do the work. Worst complaint with YN. And turn back into grade school. Let me see what we got. Shout out to Rebel for Almighty in the building. You can't talk to everyone like that at work. They be going through things at home and take it out on you. And that's not fair to you. Yeah, that's another thing, guys. In the workplace, like Brittany said, in the workplace, you have a lot of people that deal with a lot of issues at home and they bring it to work. And this is why you can't really be disrespectful to people. Now, of course, in the workplace as men, we normally hash everything out as men. Even if we beefing and fighting on the job, I'm pretty sure all you guys been there where you were beefing with a coworker. Y'all probably threw hands for a second, maybe, because we used to do this thing in the workplace. Let's say, for example, somebody got out of pocket and we wanted to solve that issue real quick. We would find an area on the job, literally. We would find an area and them two, whoever they were, they just go have a quick fight a quick fade, whatever the situation is on the job. Now, of course, you're not supposed to do that. But sometimes there was no other solution. We couldn't work this situation out. Now, we weren't going to let it go to the next level. Like, we would be there to break it up. We're not trying to let nobody get beat down. Just a quick hands. All right, back to work, guys. Just let off some steam real quick, and then everybody's cool again. How many of you guys been there where you beefing with somebody on the job, probably had a fight, major argument, and within an hour or 2 hours, you would go back to that brother, be like, yo, my bad. You know what I'm saying? It was my fault. You know what I'm saying? Everything's cool. My bad, bro. And y'all would clear the air, and there's no more issues. Now, women, to the ladies, it's different. When women on the workplace are beefing, unfortunately, guys, it's not the same. Women do not resolve issues like us. As men in the workplace, we're able to, we could be beefing and we will resolve our issues right away. Nobody would leave work beefing. We will resolve those issues somewhere in the day. Somebody got to apologize to somebody. Somebody got to humble themselves and walk up to the brother and be like, yo, Mark, yo, let me holler at you. Let me holler at you, dog. And he'll come over and be like, yo, dog, yo, my bad, man. Earlier when we had that little situation, yeah, that's my fault, dog. I was angry, man. You know what I mean? Dealing with a lot of ish, bro. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy, man. But yo, man, my bad on disrespecting you, dog. You know what I'm saying? And he'd be like, yo, it's good, bro. Everything cool. You know what I mean? It is what it is. And we just back to work. Back to work like nothing ain't happened. But women don't do that, bro. Women be beefing all day, all week. And it's a difficult situation. So to the sisters on how to deal with that type of demonic conflict, how to combat a demon female coworker. Now, I've seen some stuff on the job where women got robbed, meaning another woman robbed their shoes, purse, and it was big fights, man. Big fights all the time. Man, it's difficult, man, because women are emotional and they take those things very serious. When other women steal from them, it's very difficult for them to let that go. They be wanting to fight. They'll go call somebody up to the job. I've seen things happen, man. I've seen women get cut with a knife, blades, razors. It gets really messy, man. One particular chick, they cut her hair off, like she did some dirt. The woman ended up coming up to the job, had some other peeps with her, and they grabbed that chick, went with the scissors, cut that woman's hair, bro. Cut it off. And I'm not talking about no weave. They cut her real hair and messed her up, bro. Women be doing some brutal stuff, you know? Some ladies keyed up another woman's car. I mean, messed it up. Messed up her car, bro, because she was stealing. And you know how women are, man. They rule by emotions. So if you're a sister and you get into a situation like that, I recommend talking to a brother. I recommend hollering at a brother and see how you can resolve those issues, because he might offer some wisdom to you on how to calm down and not react. Because a lot of y'all be reacting too quick and y'all be going to blows. I've seen women fight on the job, bro. Like, no joke, you know? And it's just bad. Not all the women. I'm not saying all the women on the job been flipping, but there have been certain women. There's always certain women on the job, bro, that be doing goofy stuff. And, you know, because for the most part, most women in the workplace know each other and they're cool. But sometimes you might get that one worker that's probably new, right? Don't understand the politics on the job and end up doing some goofy thing and, you know, end up causing a problem. You know, it's crazy. But I really don't know what to say in that one. I guess all you got to do is pray before you come to work if you're a woman. Pray to Jesus Christ. Ask him to save you, bro. Like, for real. Because us brothers, we know how to handle situations at work. I've been in many issues, been through all sorts of beef, fights at the job. I can't count how many times I've been in those type of situations, man. I had one particular coworker, man, he pissed me the hell off, man. This guy would just come to work and not work, bro. Like, he would just sit there and, he's a cool dude. You know what's so crazy about this dog? Dude was one of our drinking buddies. We used to go to the bar. This is before we started going to the bar. Like, dude would just come to work and don't work. He would just sit in the office all day while we doing all the work. And he ended up being one of our buddies when it's time to drink. And, it turned to find out he's a cool dude. You know what I'm saying? We used to go to the bar and whatnot and just kind of chill, have a few cold ones and this and that. He's a cool guy, but he's lazy. And it was one particular day, we was arguing in the workplace. It was a heated argument, man. And I just told dude straight up, like, yo, bro, you got to work, man. You can't just be in here not doing nothing, dog. Like, you got to work, bro. You can't just be sitting here watching your phone, man. Like, y'all got to all carry y'all weight, bro. Can't be just me doing all the work, man. And we had that talk. And he was still lazy, but he would get up every now and then to go do some work. So we kind of gave him a pass, like, because we knew he was lazy. Every one of you got them at the 9 to 5. That one coworker that's lazy. They don't work, bro. Y'all got to keep pulling them to go work. You know what I mean? So all in all, guys, I giving y'all some information on how to combat demons. The best advice is to ignore them, right? Ignore demon-possessed people because they really want to get a reaction out of you. They really want to provoke you to anger so you could compromise your freedom, lose your job, lose something. Something you're going to lose anytime you confront a demon, right? So we're going to pretty much wrap up the show. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe today if you like the content. If you feel I did a good job and you like the videos, you like the commentary, it's educational, it's entertaining, whatever the case is, then double tap the screen to give it a thumbs up. If you think the content sucks, you don't like the content, you feel I can do better, then double tap the screen and give it a thumbs up. That was supposed to be a joke. I don't have my laughter tracks with me. But if you experience any of these issues and you feel this information will help you, talk about it in the comments. You know what I'm saying? Like when the video is over in the comment section, talk about your experience dealing with demon-possessed people and how you combated them situations. Maybe you have some suggestions that maybe I didn't offer here that can help these good people to overcome these issues. Because we all deal with this stress of combating demons on an everyday basis. You could be on the road driving to work and you're combating a demon on the road. Road rage. Don't get into road rage, guys. Y'all remember that situation that happened with that pregnant lady? The video that I did with the pregnant lady? Make sure you go check it out. There was a pregnant lady, I believe it was in Brooklyn, right? She is pregnant, had a fender bender. She get out the car, chasing somebody down. She get out, started banging on the person's window, telling them to get out, get out. She was cussing them out. She's pregnant. She goes into the front of their vehicle. Whoever she was in front of stepped on the gas, mowed her down. She's under the car, in the wheels, getting grinded up in the wheels, while her back is getting scraped all over the floor, and she's pregnant. And the person dragged her all around the corner and kept driving with her down the street until she's dead. All because of road rage. Never get out your car. Just get the plate and let the insurance companies do what they got to do. Let the police do what they got to do. But don't get out the car, right? So it is what it is. So I'm going to get up on out of here, guys. Y'all have a blessed night. It is what it is. We're going to have a lot of content coming up. Thought I'd do something a little different. If you like the scenery in this, let me know, and I'll do more content in this particular situation right here. Because I got many different places in the house to shoot videos. We got the studio upstairs. Make sure y'all check out my birthday video. I think I have that pinned as one of the main videos subscribers will see when they return back to the channel. Make sure you check out that. We did that one the other day where we unveiled the new studio. So yeah, guys, that background there is the other studio area that we're going to have for the We Gotta Talk TV channel that we're going to pretty much release. And also, guys, when we start the reality show that we're doing with the family, it's going to be the best family show on YouTube. You don't want to miss that, guys. Stay tuned, guys. When I tell you, when we drop the first episode, it's going to be dope. I can't wait, guys. It is the most original content there is on social media. There's a lot of people doing family shows, but none of them will do it like this, guys. It's going to be epic when I tell you. It's going to be very entertaining, very educational. I'm going to apply all of the knowledge I have, all of the principles into this particular show so that not only is it entertaining, but educational. It'll help you to overcome things. It'll help you to deal with various other stuff. So look out for that, guys. So again, appreciate everybody stopping by. Again, guys, without you, I don't have a platform. Without you good people showing up, we don't have no content because I'll just be here talking to myself. So I appreciate each and every one of you for stopping by. Hope all of you have a blessed day and stay at peace. Protect your energy at all costs. Don't let a demon steal your joy. Always stay prayed up. Keep your faith and confidence in the Most High. If you're not a believer in the Most High, you should be. If you don't know the Bible, if you don't know any scripture, if you say, well, I don't really believe in God, just be thankful. Be the kind of person who's thankful. When you get up in the morning, just be thankful for the day. Thankful to have breath and you have limbs that work and you can walk and talk. These are things to be grateful for, you know. Be thankful for your family, thankful for your health, thankful that you have sight. Be thankful, be a thankful person. And to me, that's going to help you go a long way. Don't be the kind of person who neglect God, neglect the blessings that you have. Always be thankful for what you have. You may not have everything you want, but be thankful. If you live in the hood, in the projects, be thankful that you got a place to stay. Be thankful for the food in your fridge. Be thankful for it. You know what I mean? You might not have the best car, the best place, the best whatever. But if you can be thankful, be content with where you are, then eventually you'll begin to elevate in life. But you got to apply yourself. You got to apply work. You got to do something with yourself. Nothing is going to happen until you do something with your life. Don't get mad or jealous at the next man because he's able to achieve certain things. You could achieve things too. The problem is you're not working towards those goals, you know? So we're going to be doing more videos probably to help you to reach those goals. But you got to be willing to absorb the content, take inventory of your own personal life to see where you are and what you need to do. It's a journey. You got to work towards those goals. You know what I mean? You got to work towards them, guys. Me moving from New York over here, that didn't just happen overnight, guys. That was work. I had to work. I had to save. I had to grind. I had to research. I had to put the plan together. I had to do so. I had to sacrifice everything, guys. And I'm still struggling to maintain and do so many different things that I got to do. It's a struggle, guys. It really is. I'm not one of these fake content creators where everything is just perfect. I'm not one of those perfect people. I'm just like you guys. Go through the struggles, got to deal with the issues, got to pay bills, got to figure this out, got to figure that out. Same BS that you deal with, I got to deal with, bro. The only difference is I'm transparent with you because I'm not fake. You know what I mean? So when you listen to me, I'm right where you are. I try to speak to where you are, not all the way up here acting like everything is good, like a lot of these fake content creators that act like they live in this Hollywood life. And then when you check the receipts, they not really who they claim to be. I'm pretty sure you've seen a lot of those fakes get exposed. That you don't want to be that kind of person, right? So at the end of the day, guys, you have to have goals. You have to set goals and you got to work towards them. You got to struggle. Everything in life is a struggle. We all struggle to get to the next level. That's a part of life. That's a part of adulting. That's a part of being a man and woman. You got to struggle to get to the next level so that your kids don't have to struggle. Do you see what I'm saying? So that being said, rate, comment, and subscribe. And that's about it, guys. You have a blessed one. Peace and blessings. Again, double tap the screen to give it a thumbs up. And it is what it is. Somebody says, if you don't struggle, what? Was it worth it? Well, the struggle is the process that makes you remember where you came from. You know, you got to always remember where you came from. And to me, that's the thing that helps me, is that I know where I came from. And I haven't even arrived yet. You know what I mean? People be watching my content. They think I'm a millionaire and they think I'm just living it up. Fam, I just now started to live, bro. People jealous of me, and I just started to live, bro. I was existing, but I wasn't living, bro. I was in the hood. I was existing. I was not living. You see the difference? I was existing in the hood, but I wasn't living life. And people mad at me because I'm living my life now. That's crazy, right? But anyway, guys, rate, comment, and subscribe. Peace and blessings to the mods in the chat. I'm out of here, y'all. Y'all take care. Peace. We out.